Over the past weekend, Senegal held presidential elections, and amidst the country's current political turmoil, a new figure has emerged, capturing the heart of the nation's people with promise of change and renewal. This figure is Bassirou Diomaye Faye, a 44-year-old opposition leader whose victory in the first round of the election seems increasingly likely. Mr. Faye, who celebrated his 44th birthday on Monday, will become the West African country's youngest ever president and the youngest elected president currently serving in Africa. Presenting himself as part of a new generation of politicians, Faye believes in national sovereignty, fair wealth distribution, and reforming what he perceives as a corrupt justice system in the country. In his campaign promises that stood tall among others, one of them is his outlined plans to break away from France's economic influence in Senegal, including a proposal to leave the franc currency bloc. Born on March 25, 1980, in Mbo in Senegal, Faye's journey into politics followed a distinguished academic and professional path. After obtaining a master's degree in law, he embarked on a career dedicated to public service, initially as a tax inspector, and later becoming a key figure in the opposition party, Pastef. Faye's rise within a few years was because of his close relationship with Ousmane Sonko, the party's founder, and because of that, Mr. Faye was not only the winner in this election. Many Senegalese who casted their ballots for him saw him merely as a proxy of Mr. Sonko, his 49-year-old friend, who was jailed and barred from running in the election. Mr. Faye, who was also jailed on charges of defamation and contempt of the court after he accused magistrates of persecuting Mr. Sonko, who was himself convicted of defamation and separately of corrupting a minor after he was accused of raping a young massage parlor employee. Despite setbacks including Sonko's arrest on charges of rape and subsequent imprisonment, their political party, Pastef, continued to gain more supporters, winning parliamentary seats and positioning Faye as a prominent opposition voice in the country's election. However, Faye's own encounter with the law came when he was arrested and accused of spreading false news and undermining the state's security. His incarceration for about 11 months alongside Sonko sparked unrest and led to the postponement of the 2024 elections, plunging Senegal into a political crisis. Despite these allegations, Senegal's constitutional court eventually ordered the election to proceed, leading to celebrations as Faye and Sonko were released from prison. With just days to campaign for the election, Faye emerged as a leading opposition candidate, vying for victory against Amadou Ba, a former prime minister from the ruling party who resigned just to run for the election. Faye's campaigns resonated particularly with Senegal's youth.
Il n'y aura pas de deuxième tour. On va gagner ou bien on pourra gagner à plus de 60%, Inch'Allah. On est sûr de ça.
Vous allez voir notre visage des Sénégalais du Sénégal parce que c'est une révolution totale. Tout va changer.
Promising profound change and advocating for the country's departure from the franc bloc, his message tapped into the frustrations over economic inequalities in the country and French influence in the country as well, therefore gaining support among intellectuals and civil servants. Faye says that he believes in system change and left-wing Pan-Africanism to reclaim Senegal's sovereignty, a message some believe is an illusion on intentions to distance the country from Western powers, especially former colonial ruler France. And these are some of the major reforms he is set to enact once he assumes office. Faye has promised to reduce presidential powers and reintroduce the vice presidency role in the country as to ensure perfect distribution of roles in his government. During his campaigns, he also said that he will prioritize fighting corruption in the country. And most important of it all is the country's monetary reform. Faye wants to implement a monetary reform to finance the economy of Senegal, removing the CFA francs. And in one of his campaign messages, he said he will carry out a monetary reform that will allow the country to have its own currency. He also added in a press conference that he believes there is no sovereignty if there is no monetary sovereignty. But after concern from foreign investors in the country, he He later promised a match, saying that Senegal would seek to implement a reform in the CFA franc as a regional level first, and if that fails, they will consider creating a national currency. As Senegal is set to start producing oil in huge volume, managing the forthcoming revenues from their oil and gas reserves demands a strong and intelligent leader like Faye, who understands how money and international relations work, so as to ensure that the nation as a whole benefits from it. And for now, the eyes of both his people and international community are on him as they look to see if he can fulfill his promises of change and steer the country towards a brighter future. His success will mark a significant moment for Senegal and West Africa, potentially ushering in a new era of governance and economic independence. As Senegal prepares for a new chapter under Faye's leadership, the challenges ahead are immense. So are the opportunities and progress and development of the country as well. His opposition, Amadou Ba, has also congratulated his win, likewise the president. What can I say? It's a remarkable turnaround for Mr. Faye, who spent the last 11 months in prison on charges of insurrection and many more years before that in his allies' shadow. So there you have it. Thanks for watching this video. Please do make sure you subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.
À nos partenaires bilatéraux et multilatéraux, que le Sénégal tiendra toujours son rang. Il restera le pays ami et l'allié sûr et fiable de tout partenaire qui s'engagera avec nous dans une coopération vertueuse, respectueuse et mutuellement productive. J'ai une pensée pour les femmes et les jeunes. Une partie importante des ressources de la nation sera mobilisée pour abréger leurs souffrances et leur manque de perspective. Le peuple sénégalais a compris et choisi. Ce projet que le peuple sénégalais a compris et choisi permettra de libérer l'énergie créatrice qui sommeille en chacun d'entre nous et de mobiliser et valoriser les importantes ressources humaines, spirituelles et naturelles dont regorge notre pays pour en faire le moteur de notre sursaut. Au vu des urgences qui étreignent et de l'espérance placée en nous, nous travaillerons de manière acharnée et méthodique autour des chantiers prioritaires dont les plus importants à nos yeux sont la réconciliation nationale et la reconstruction des bases de notre vivre ensemble, la refondation des institutions, l'allègement sensible du coût de la vie, les concertations nationales inclusives, sectorielles sur l'évaluation et la relance des politiques publiques.